One Piece has a problem that I tried to ignore for the past few years, but I just can't anymore. And it's not what you think. It's not Gear 5, the pacing, the new animations, or even the ridiculous number of episodes. No, my problem with One Piece runs much deeper. But before I dive into what that is, let me give you some context. Like many of you, I started watching One Piece when I was just a kid. Back then, I caught a few episodes on TV, but honestly, I had no idea what was going on. But at 13, I started from scratch, and that's when everything changed. I fell in love with the world, the characters, the adventures, and now, here I am, 9 years later, still a massive fan. So much so, that I've had these posters on my wall for the past 6 or maybe 7 years. I also got this Gachapon figure when I was in London, and recently bought this t-shirt. So, trust me when I say this, I'm not here to hate on One Piece, I'm here because I love it. And when you love something as much as I do, you have to be willing to criticize it too. So, in the following, I'm going to outline the problem, provide specific examples to explain why this problem matters, and then I want to give you another perspective to maybe come to terms with the issue, but more on that later on. So, what exactly is this big problem that bothers me so much? It's the characters, or rather the personalities, specifically the post-timeskip versions of the Straw Hats. Something about them feels, let's just say, different. It's like some of the traits that made us love them so much have been lost. This problem has been bothering me for the past few years and actually ruined One Piece a little bit for me. So I wanna ask you if some of you also noticed this, or is it just me? Please write your opinions in the comments, and maybe some of you can convince me that it's not that bad, or that I'm just completely wrong, so I can finally enjoy One Piece again. I want to start with 2 minor examples and then end it with, in my opinion, the most extreme ones that are really bothering me. So let's start with the guy who started it all. Monkey D. Luffy is, in my opinion, one of the best MCs that were ever created. But sadly, I'm talking about the pre-timeskip Luffy. When One Piece started, Luffy was at the beginning of his adventures. He was powerful, carefree and fearless. He would fight for people he liked and was also a little bit, let's just say, on the simpler side. Now, some of you might think that he still has all those traits after the time skip, and that's fine. But think about it. Has he really all those traits? Keep in mind that all I'm saying in this video is just my personal opinion, but I feel like Luffy is just, let's just say, hungry and stupid 90% of the time. Also keep in mind that I will explain the reasons behind it later. For now, I just want to give you some examples. Another one would be Zoro, the fan favorite. Zoro is maybe the most badass and most appreciated side character ever. He is loyal, extremely powerful, funny, drinks a lot, and he is stoic. But it feels like Zoro read a few pages of meditations by Aurelius after the time skip. He almost becomes a caricature of the strong and silent type. He's still loyal, but his humor doesn't really exist anymore. Zoro doesn't laugh, doesn't make jokes, he's just standing around. His interactions with the crew also feel kind of lacking. I know that Zoro was hit the hardest when he saw his captain and best friend fighting a war without him at his side, crying on the battlefield with his dead brother in his arms. I think we all know that Zoro feels responsible for this. I mean, that's the reason why he begged Mihawk to train him, and I think that would also be the law reason why he changed so much after the time skip. That's why I said those are the minor flaws. I could go on with the minor ones, but now I want to talk about the 2 examples that really pisses me off, Nico Robin and Nami. But before I go on with my examples, I want to make it clear. Not everything has gotten worse. Matter of fact, I think some changes were great, but I want to talk about that later on, so make sure to watch to the end. Anyway, pre-timeskip Nico Robin is one of my favorite crew members. Nico Robin started off as a mysterious and dark character. She was part of the villains in the Arabasta arc and decided herself that she will be part of the crew. She's older, wiser, and much more experienced than all other crew members, at least at the time. She kind of became the crew's mummy. She also became the most important member aside from Luffy because of her ability to read the poneglyphs. She's intelligent and a strong fighter. She's cold and strategic. Her devil fruit is super cool, her humor is dark, and she's extremely good knowledge about the past of the world. She also often served as the voice of reason for the crew. For example, during the Skypiea arc, Robin's deep understanding of history and culture was instrumental in the crew's exploration of the ancient city Shandora. She was always steps ahead, constantly analyzing situations and considering the broader implications. What makes Robin such a great character is that her backstory logically influenced her personality, at least in my opinion. That's why I think that the Enies Lobby arc worked so great. She finally decided that she wants to live and wants to sail to the Grand Line with her newfound family. After the time skip, one of the most noticeable changes on her character is the shift into the background. But man, with her background, power and knowledge, she should be a much more central character in most of the arcs. Now she's more observing rather than really participating. I think there have been numerous post-timeskip arcs where her unique knowledge and abilities could have played a much more crucial role. For example, during the zoo arc where the crew learns about the poneglyphs, Robin's role could have been much more central. However, much of the focus was shifted away from her, thus making her contributions feel more like an afterthought rather than a planned key element of the story. Also, like Nami, her shift in design is also more focused on the fan service. Don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of fan service, but I think in Robin's case it reduced her to just that. A fan service side character that every 50 episodes gets a little bit of screen time that has some important dialogue. I know that her arcs are finished and that's why she has no longer problems with her trauma, but I think that kind of takes away from some of her most important traits. Now, Robin is nothing more than a Straw Hat Smith that sometimes says something out of pocket for comic relief. Like Robin, pre-timeskip Nami was one of my favorite crew members. Nami started off as a really interesting character. She was a selfish thief that wasn't really a villain but actually tried to fool Luffy and Co a few times. After she officially joined the crew for what felt like the 100th time, she kind of became the big sister for Luffy. Nami was smart, not like a Nico Robin smart, but rather street smart. She was sneaky, treacherous and cautious. She always came up with plans to escape or change the tides of battle. She was maybe not a strong fighter, but she always knew how to help herself in any situation. I think a good example for her traits would be when she convinced Mr. 3 that she were on his side in the Little Garden. And like I already said with Nico Robin, I think the reason pre-timeskip Nami worked so well is that her backstory logically influenced her personality in a very realistic and cool way in my opinion. Along is the reason she likes money so much, and to be able to gather so much money, or rather steal so much money, you have to know how to trick people, charm them and to distract them. So, the most noticeable change after the timeskip is obviously her longer hair. And the rest of her non-existent outfits. I mean, I get it, okay? I play Nico in my free time, so you know what kind of man I am. But this is just too much. Nami lost basically every character trait and exchanged it for bigger boobs. And again, I think there could have been so much opportunities for Nami to shine and give her more meaningful things to do than being sexy and afraid. And what is annoying me the most is her constant fear of opponents and fights. Pre-timeskip Nami was afraid and didn't want to engage in certain fights or things that were happening, but after the timeskip, this got so extreme. Everything Nami is doing now is being sexy, wanting money, or is being afraid. I know that what I said isn't really true. Yes, Zoro smiles sometimes. Yes, Luffy can be smart and serious, and Robin and Nami also get their moments sometimes. And I also know that the thing with the influence of the backstory is something that everyone in One Piece has. I mean, that's one of the reasons people love One Piece so much. But in my opinion, it was exceptionally made in those particular cases. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that it feels like the characters are shadows of their former selves. They used to have so much more depth to them, and now they are all more like stereotypes of their pre-timeskip counterparts. I know that many of you are thinking about the pre-timeskip event with Ace, and thus how the timeskip changed their personalities. But let me give you some other reasons why this could be the case. I think one of the reasons this shift in narrative focus happened is because the post-timeskip is more focused on the actual story. It's much more shifted towards bigger arcs, bigger battles and world building with much more characters than ever before. So it's only natural that daily interactions, thus their more subtle character traits, can't shine when the stakes get higher with every fight. Another reason could be that One Piece got so popular that Oda feels pressure to deliver. What I mean with that is that he's more focused on exceeding the readers or viewers' expectations with new power-ups and abilities than with subtle dialogues. Also, I think the older arcs were, most of the time, a masterclass in balance between high stakes but still with their personalities shine through. But why does it matter? And to be honest with you, I actually don't care if it matters for you. The problem is that it matters for me. It matters for me because this actually ruined One Piece a little bit for me. Every time Robin gets screen time, she makes a dark humor one-liner and Brook reacts to it. And every time this happened, I think about how she used to have so much more depth. I mean, I used to love One Piece. It was always in my top 5 anime. One Piece influenced me much more than any other show because it's the one that started it all. Fun fact, One Piece was the reason I wanted to become a mangaka like Oda, and I actually studied art for 1 semester until I realized that art teachers are actually stupid as hell. And now I'm writing my stories rather than draw them, but anyways, I'm drifting away. What I wanted to say is that right now it just annoys me so much that I'm not even up to date anymore. For the past few years I watch a couple of episodes in a short time and then I take a long break. I mean, I know more or less what's happening at the moment, but I can't really bring myself to get back into it right now. Keep in mind that I'm a long-time fan. So don't write me off with something like, oh, he's rage bait farming or something like that. I don't know if the characters were always this way or if I just remember them differently. Or if it's just my nostalgia that makes me feel like, oh, in the good old times everything was better. Or maybe I'm just burnt out of One Piece. So what was the goal of this entire video? I think the goal for me with this video is not getting validation from you, but rather coming to terms with how the anime changed. It felt more like explaining the problem and reasons behind them to myself so I could understand and accept them and finally enjoy One Piece again. And maybe some of you felt the same and now have a new way of looking at it, or I'm just talking a bunch of bullshit. Now I want to give us all some new perspectives that might help us, or at least me, enjoy One Piece again. Instead of focusing on the things we lost, let's appreciate what we got. Yes, Robin isn't what she used to be, but I love the focus on all the new characters that we got. I love Yamato and all the characters that were introduced in the Wano arc. Yes, I wish the crew would have the depth they used to have, but it's completely normal that Oda made the shift in storytelling because it's not the same story anymore. The arcs are bigger and the stakes are higher. Luffy isn't at the beginning of his journey anymore. He's getting closer to the end with each episode. So it's okay that we don't have those small moments anymore because we got plot twist after plot twist and reveal after reveal. I also love the new, or rather changing art styles. Year 5 and the story behind it are also super cool, and the animations we got are so damn crazy. So yes, there's still a lot to appreciate about One Piece and I think I'm ready to enjoy it again. I know, this is a sensitive topic because nobody is allowed to criticize our top G Oda, but I really want to know what you guys think about it. Do you agree with me, or do you think I'm just an idiot that has no idea what he's talking about because Oda is perfect and has always everything planned out? Either way, I appreciate that you watched this far. But if you want to hear me praising an anime instead of talking about its problems, make sure to check out my video about Vivi, Floret's Ice Song. One of the best anime ever made, at least in my opinion. Anyway guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and sub, and check out the Discord server that I recently made where we can chat more about anime and future video ideas. You need to be at least 18 because I don't want to be like Mr. Beast, but if you're up for it, the link is in the description. See you all in the next one.
Gotta testify, come up in the spot looking extra fly. For the day I die, I'ma touch the sky. Back when they thought pink polos would hurt the rock. Before Cam got the shit to pop, the doors closed. I felt like bad boy street team, I couldn't work the locks. Now let's go, take them back to the plan. Me and my mama hopped in that U-Haul.